Back at it in the Lions Den. I kind of messed up on that intro, but it's been a while.
Oh man, if I ain't dealing with the lions, you know what I'm saying, me trying to devour me, man, I'm dealing with the sharks trying to tear into my flesh. But either way, man, I'm going to win. You know what I'm saying? If I'm fighting the lion, I'm going to drag his ass in the water. You know what I'm saying? Me eat his ass like a shark. I'm fighting the shark, I'm going to pull his ass on the dry ground and I'm going to eat him up like I'm a lion. So, it's all about winning with me, man. Being in position, you know what I'm saying? Finding the best territorial way, you know what I'm saying, to conquer your situation.
Yeah. Now how would you go about, we done did various segments about what's plaguing our country with all these law enforcement handling, dealings with our people. This is like a vicious circle. It's like the event happens, then it's a protest, then sometimes it may turn out to be a riot, and then it kind of dies down saying we're going to do something, and then you don't hear nothing, and then something else pops up and it starts all over again.
Well, I think that the problem with law enforcement in this country is that they have too much room for error. You know what I'm saying? It's like they almost know that if they kill someone and they kill that person correctly, there's a high probability that they're going to be found not guilty. And as long as you operate with that mindset, and there's no accountability, and you don't have to be accountable for your responsibilities, then I think that gives a person somewhat a sense of false arrogance and false superiority, and that's why police is so aggressive, because they know they have the power of life and death in their holster. If they don't like you, like the one cop in St. Louis that planted the gun on the brother, you know what I'm saying? They just found out that he had planted a gun. Before he pursued the guy, he said, I'm going to kill this motherfucker. And he killed him.
Yeah.
Then he planted a gun on him. And then we see the de-escalation of the guy that just got shot in Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? You look at how the police handled that situation. They was like hyping themselves to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Put the gun down. Put the gun down. Put the gun down. Like still saying, sir, look, we can end this peacefully. Why don't you just put the gun down? And if you hollering at somebody, you tell them, put the gun down, and you have a hostile vernacular or hostile voice pitch, then I think that automatically send all type of signals to that person who got the gun or who may be in danger, that, the danger is about to increase, because you're not, if your mama tell you, boy, did I tell you sit your butt down? You're going to assume at that point she's about to whoop your ass.
Yeah.
But she say, little Johnny, sit down, okay, please. Don't make mommy mad. You know what I'm saying? That's a different perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a different approach. And I think it's the way the police approach criminals. And I think that for some reason, because of the news cycle and how black men are portrayed in the news, I think that most police officers look at us as being thugs and gangsters and a threat to them. So they try to, neutralize us and try to use overforce so they can, they can psychologically get in our head that they're in control.
Yeah.
Because that's what they want to do. They want to be in control. They want to make you and I think that, they're in control at all times, because if they taught probably in their training that if you ever let these people feel like you're not in control, that they might try to take advantage of you, or they might think you're weak.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a lot of racist police. You got Ku Klux Klan's members in the police officers. You got white supremacists in the police academy, or whatever the hell you call it, police union. And so that play a part too. If you're a racist and you can shoot a nigga and still lynch a nigga and get away with it, I don't think you have no problem with shooting them if you don't have no problem with lynching them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing that we have to look at from an intellectual perspective. My whole thing is, I got pulled over by the police a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him, I said, so is it okay if I go get my wallet? And he was like, yeah, go ahead. Because they want to be in control. The minute they feel like they're losing control, they become hostile They become overly aggressive. Sometimes, but not all the time, we as African American males, we can't accept aggressiveness towards us. You know what I'm saying? We tend to, that's like if you ever been to prison, the dudes that get into the most fights with the correctional officers is the dudes that don't like the officers that are disrespectful. So when the officers be like, get over there, I'm not playing with you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that dude, he just goes off. He whooped the officer. He added another 5 years to a sentence.
Yeah.
Because we don't like to be talked to, especially by white men, in an aggressive manner because we already in the back of our mind, and through genetics feel like, these are the people that oppressed us.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody actually put you in a situation when you're feeling oppressed, naturally rebel. And that might not be the good thing for some of us because that's when, if he's a racist or if he's a guy that grew up getting bullied and he just want to feel tough, then you give him probable cause to unleash on you and kill you. So, you got to be extremely careful, you know what I'm saying? And we just live in those times now where it's obvious that the police realize now more so than ever that they can do whatever they want to do and then they get away with it.
Yeah.
Now, there are some exceptions. When that camera is on you and your hand is up and everybody can see what's going on, and they can't use TV magic or they can't justify it with, some type of movement or some type of action. And then that's when you see a police officer actually getting locked up, as in the case with the lady, in Tulsa. So, it's different variables, different scenarios that create the actual situation.
Yeah.
But as African American men, it is advisable to not be a punk, because we hate that word, but to be kind of smooth and realize that, look, if I can make it through this, then whatever this dude got going on in his head, it's going to be over with once he let me go. Then you got to remember too, man, police officers are fathers, they are mothers, they are uncles, they are human beings too. So if they have a problem with their wife at home, who's to say that they don't carry their problem to the job?
Yeah.
And knowing that they have the ability to either let life be or to take life, that's an ugly situation there. Because no matter what you say, I don't care how much training you have or how long you've been on the force, you still are subjected to the norms and the ills of human endeavor. Any human can take sick at any time. Any human can have some type of mental problem at any given moment. Any human being can become dysfunctional. Any human can become emotional. So considering all these things and considering that the police are human, then we know that they go through emotional things. We know they go through dysfunctional things. We know that they go through highs and lows. You know what I'm saying? They suffer from hypertension just like anybody else suffer from hypertension.
Yeah.
They suffer from anything that any other human being suffer from. The only thing that make them superhuman is that gun in their holster.
Too cool to come 24/7.